Did you hear what happened to Councilmember Trayon White of Washington, D.C.? Let's talk about it. Okay, so essentially, Trey's been accused of accepting a bribe from an organization, but who is that organization and what was the payment for? The organization would have provided services to help stop or interrupt violence in D.C. Okay, so is that a bad thing? Not at all, really, because the city needs it. See, ever since drugs were planted in low-income black communities all across the country by the US CIA, on top of mass divestment from those communities, the pooling of money and resources from them, violence in them upsurged. This left many low-income black communities vulnerable. Trey has been the council member of one of those communities deeply impacted by that history, DC's Ward 8. So is taking a payment to push for an organization to reduce violence in his community the worst thing a politician could do? Mind you, Trey himself grew up in this community, experiencing poverty like many other young black men there. So in a city that routinely deprioritizes the well-being of the poor, if someone is offering you money to ensure that your community gets the services it needs, which is what he's been about from the jump, would that make him a villain or a Robin Hood for his people? Well, if you're the Washington Post or Mary Muriel Bowser, you paint him as the villain. So let's look into their records as well as other key players in DC to really develop some savvy political analysis, because the tale of the hunt will always glorify the hunter. That is, until the lion learns to read the goddamn room. Cause see, the Washington Post is the same major DC paper that routinely praises DC's mayor, Muriel Bowser, who is super quick to publicly condemn Trey for his alleged actions. Now, DC's mayor, Muriel Bowser, routinely gives away hundreds of millions of dollars in public land and assets to her short list of favorite developers with not one single investigation. DC Council Chair Phil Mendelson is working to remove Trey as the chair of the Committee on Recreation, Libraries, and Youth Affairs, and a majority of council members so far support it. Now, that's the same Mendelson who threatened to take away everyone's right to have referendums on the ballot. That's where if people's grassroots groups get enough signatures to put something like a mandatory living wage on for residents to directly check off and sign into law, yeah, Mendelson threatened to take that power away from DC residents. Now, why do you think he did that? Mendelson, who also orchestrated $500 million of DC taxpayer money to a billionaire arena owner downtown. Now, what was his percent cut? What about Councilmember Anita Bonds, whose other part-time job outside of the council is at Fort Myer Construction Company, who just happens to get much of the street repair contracts in the city? Where's the accountability around that? Who even set up Trey? And did it really do what they wanted it to? Well, that is the FBI, the same agency who set up any black leader who puts on for their people too much. Like their COINTELPRO program on Black Panthers, their spies on Billie Holiday for rousing the people with her song Strange Fruit. The list goes on and on. So why was Trayon clearly set up by an FBI informant? Well, let's take a look at Trey's track record. Trayon's job is a legislator. That means he pushes, supports, or rejects ideas for laws in the city. Trey's been a super free public service advocate, supporting longer hours and more free services at libraries and rec centers. This is the committee Mendelson's trying to get him out of. Trey's also voted against the Crimnibus, a series of bills proposed by the DC mayor and councilmember Pinto to find more reasons to lock up DC residents and make way for further gentrification. Let's keep it a buck. Trey was also the only council member who voted against schools being able to drug the kids without their parents' consent. On the grassroots level, Trey has been the go-to person for community causes. In my own experience, Trey has always stood for my work in the community, knowing I always do it from the heart. And we met as activists many years ago at Alex Haley's farm in Tennessee. And he's been down for me as a fellow community organizer and friend ever since. Even when I don't ask for it, and even when it's giving me hard advice. What about you? How has Trayon White been down for you? The media and powers that be will do what they do to take down a civil servant, just like they did Mayor Marion Barry. But an educated community that knows better, does better. It can't be that easy. So share your experiences of how Trey supported you so the world knows how we fight to keep those down for us.